Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Power of Positivity. Thank you. Thankfully, I have another wonderful guest with me today or tonight or whatever kind of time of day you happen to be listening in. Um, Today, I have Skellingtor with me. He was he used to create MS. Uh, I hate a mystery science theater. That's
Yes,
a
Mystery Science
mouthful of
Theater
a
F1.
name.
That's yeah, because the original also used to be a mouthful of a name. It was called Mystery Science Theater 3000. It was a series where it was created by a bunch of guys in Minnesota, I think, and they were just watching like old movies that were like considered very cheesy or bad, and then like the whole idea of the show was they would sit down in front of the movie in like a little diorama that was like a cutout that would show like as if they were in an actual theater, and then they would make jokes over the movie because they were just so bad that they had to do something about it basically. And that's essentially why the where the name came from. It is a mouthful. I always thought about changing it, but before I stopped doing it, I just never got around to doing it.
I was actually about to ask that about how the name came
Yeah,
up. So,
that's pretty much it.
so you decided to graduate the name from F3000 to F Formula One.
Yeah, pretty much because that was the main topic that I was covering. Wasn't doing movies. I was doing F1. The idea came around because in 2015, I think that's when it started. It's almost 10 years ago, by the way. Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
jeez.
So yeah, in around 2015, it was I was yet to start college. There was like an in between period from when I did the test to start college and then actually starting college. I was beginning in the middle of the year, and about August, September, there were a few problems with like some strikes going on at the time, and so it was gonna start a little later than usual. And I didn't really have anything to do at that point, so I was really into MST3K at the time, and then in a sudden like flash of ideas, I just had, wait, why don't I like try to do something with that, like do like a version of F1 for that, because like that at the time there was a kind of a severe lack, I think, of people who were being creative with F1 stuff. Like I used to watch a lot of like game people, like Tibet Marduk and Arava, those kinds of people. They were active all the way back then, and I used to watch them every now and then. But like people who were actually talking about the current product of F1, I wasn't really sure. I never really found any at the time, and so that's where the idea came from. I just like I picked up the first race of the year. We were on the fifth race, I think. I think Spain had just happened, and I started picking back up from the beginning of the season. It was Australia, and then I just started writing some stuff that I could think about. I picked up a notebook and I watched the race back, and I wrote down some jokes. Then I recorded the jokes in a little crappy headset that I had that was for my PS4, which was had a very bad mic. If you hear some bumps in the microphone, by the way, my cat is rubbing against it, so just please don't mind it too much. But yeah,
Don't worry. Give it some
yeah.
hat
So
pats.
yeah, after that, then I just edited everything together, and I tried putting it on YouTube, which was my first mistake because at the time, FOM would just strike anything out containing F1 footage because like they did not have the internet presence they do back then. Like there was nothing, zero. They didn't even have a Facebook account at the time. Um, so like at the time they were you could not post any kind of F1 footage of whatsoever. So I was kind of forced to use a different website which was called VidMe. It doesn't exist anymore, but that's what I used at the time. And from then I just kind of started doing it to basically pass time, do something creative in the world basically. And I stayed doing that until about for a couple of years. In 2017, I kind of got tired of it, and then I stopped for a while. I tried to coming back the following year, but then I started facing troubles with the copyright stuff again. So I guess I just stopped bothering after that. So um, yeah, basically from 2015 until, well, I consider the official end to be 2018. So from 2015 to 2018, that's what I was most well known on the internet for.
Um, do you also fun fact? I actually just checked in your channel. Um, only out of the entire 2015 season, only 4 videos have survived to this day.
Oh, jeez, yeah. I still sometimes get like copyrights takedown notices. Well, not takedown, like it's like that's a strike, but like they get blocked. That's what I mean to say. I think some of them I still get some blocks, the odd block email from now and then, and that's the reason actually why a few years ago when I started doing streaming on Twitch, which I don't do anymore. It was a very short-lived thing, but yeah, I posted a video to my channel saying, hey, I'm not gonna do this anymore, so just don't keep your hopes up. But I put everything on the Google Drive folder, and then if you want to watch it without having fear of it getting blocked, or without all the borders that I had to zoom in around to make sure it didn't get taken down, it was you can just go to the Google Drive folder and watch it from there, because like that's gonna be a lot more difficult to take down because it's just a Google Drive link. I could just say that it's my personal stuff then, and yeah, I mean that's how I recommend people will watch it if they do now. But some of the videos are still up. I think most of the most popular ones are still up. So I'm not gonna take down the channel at any time unless like I'm getting sued about it or anything. But I would advise people if they want to watch it, then just get the Google Drive link.
All right, I actually didn't know there about that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I guess I could have made a better a bigger deal of like announcing that, but like I did put a video on my channel saying that it was there. So for those who were still subscribed to the channel, all 13,000 people or something that are still there, they got to know about it, and now you did too.
Uh, yeah. Do you have a favorite? Do you remember any favorite videos or jokes that you made in any of them?
I've always said that my favorite video that I made was the Australia 1991 video, and I still think it's true because it was at the time it was the shortest race ever in F1. I think it only lasted like 15 minutes or so, with less like 15 laps or so, because it was pouring down in rain and there were no conditions to run, and after a while it just got red flagged very quickly. And from the get go, I thought that would have to do something very different from that, because if I try to do the same thing, it was just like joke after joke after joke. It was going to be a very short episode. It might have been less than 5 minutes. So what I did was I kind of tried to write in like a poem or a limerick. Like so every line rhymes with each other. Basically, like they're two verses. They rhyme with each other. That's the structure for most of the jokes there. And I guess it was an exercise in creativity for me, because I was just trying to do something different, and it ended up working out in the end. I liked the result, and I still like it a lot to this day. So, like, my personal favorite would be Australia '91, which I hope is still up. I think it's still up because it's one of the classic episodes. Those don't usually get taken down because they're so old.
Let me check. I believe it is because I think I saw it a couple times since.
Yeah, it's only the more popular ones. I think one that I had a lot of trouble putting up was the classics was Monaco '82, because for some reason that just got taken down all the time, no matter what I did. So I had to like put a border on it, and then inside that border I had to like zoom out the video and then put a little blurred version of it on the background. So like I had to do so many workarounds in the video. It's kind of nearly unwatchable when you think about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's odd. Some videos were like super easy to get up. Some were not. It was kind of a crapshoot at the time.
I actually see every now and then. I actually see people referencing that video.
The Monaco one,
The Australia 91 one.
Australia. Oh, okay, that's surprising. I
I
didn't think it would have that much of an impact.
I'm trying to remember exactly who, but someone someone made I think it was an IndyCar race. They also didn't go wasn't there wasn't much to it, so they decided to in reference to that Australia 91 review, also do it in Limerick.
Oh, interesting. I didn't. I never thought that would be any sort of inspiration. So, wow, that's nice to know. Like usually when I hear memes about my old stuff, it's usually just Vinkel Rock, which is actually the most popular episode in the channel. It's like has over 100,000 views, probably over 150, which is not a lot when in the grand scheme of things, but it is my most popular video. It is the one meme that's still lasting after almost 10 years.
Your pink vit.
Yeah, pretty much my version of the pink vids.
Speaking of which, how did you come up with that?
I have no idea, to be honest. I think it just came up on the spot. I guess going in, I knew that the whole Marcus Winkelhock thing was gonna happen in the race. So, um, I guess while watching it, I just came up with something, some kind of way to call him like really good, and it just happened to be a pun on his name. And yeah, like I think it just kind of came up on the spot. There was no real like thought process behind it. It was just kind of spontaneous. Like the whole hashtag thing, no one can break the Winkelrock. That was also kind of spontaneous, and it's crazy that it was just one episode that kind of spawned the meme. As I think I revisited the meme maybe once later, or maybe a couple of times, because I don't remember how many times his father Manfred Winkelhock showed up on the classic episodes, but he did.
At least a
I
couple
did make him
times.
reference. Yeah, I think so. I did make a reference of him calling him the Winkel dad. I do. I think one of them was in the one of the Detroit races. I think no, not Detroit. I think it was Long Beach '83. Because yeah, I picked that one specifically because that was the one where John Watson won from like 24th on the grid, and then that's one of the reasons why I picked that race specifically to do. One thing that I didn't never got to do was check out races where his uncle, I think it was Joaquin Winkelhock, raced, and I also had a plan to call him Uncle Rock. I never got to do that one because I stopped before before I got there.
Oh well, at least now I, no, at least
Yeah,
now
now
people
it's out
know.
there.
Um, do you have any videos that are like, oh, what was I thinking with half of this? Like you did.
Most of them. There's not one specific video where I think that I could have like scrapped and started over and done it completely better. Like I think I did what I could with the mind that I had back then, but there are a lot of jokes that I made back in then that I'm really not proud of, and like I would just if I could go back in time and slap myself across the face and not do it, I would in a heartbeat. There's
Yeah,
a lot of stuff a lot of jokes that I regret doing back then that I just really do not like really did not represent what I think of nowadays. Like it's nothing bigoted like or racist or that kind of thing. Like I was even back then I would kind of already knew better than that mostly. But like was mostly jokes regarding people dying or drivers' deaths or their injuries, that kind of stuff. Like I thought that in a way to be like more clever or dark and that kind of stuff that I had to do that kind of thing. Some of those were clever, I guess, but even then, clever or not, I probably shouldn't have done that. And if I had to do it again, I would probably leave those out. Like those are not a really good look. I still keep them up as like kind of an old shame. Like, I used to be this way, I'm not anymore. So like there's no like I'm not gonna go scorched earth and burn it all down just to make sure people don't find out the kind of stuff that I used to say. So but yeah, that's a lot of stuff that I regret is mostly like jokes involving like punching down to people.
yeah. I actually remember a couple that I
Oh no.
remember laughing at the time. Either some that I laughed at the time and some that I didn't understand at the time because I wasn't into what you were referencing. But now I'm like, wait, what? um,
Yeah, it's most a lot of the like it was still even fresh back then. I don't know what I was thinking, but I made a lot of jokes. Well, not a lot, maybe one or two, but even then, that's already too much. Like jokes referencing Jules Bianchi, who had just passed away when I started doing the videos, and like that was just not. a good look, even at the time. Like I remember getting called out for some of those at the time, and I said, okay, maybe if they can't take it, they can't take it. But like, no, that was just a bad outlook. I should not have done that.
I don't remember. I haven't seen um any of them um about that specifically in the videos that I watched, but distinctly remember stuff about Zanardi.
I don't
Like
think I did. I no Zanardi. No, I'm not sure I made a jokes about Zanardi. No, I don't
it
think I
might
got
have
there.
not have been you, but
Okay, yeah, okay.
but one I know.
Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds like the kind of joke I would do at the time, but I don't think I did. I remember doing a few jokes about Niki Lauda's accident when he got his all
Yeah,
his burns at the time. But yeah, I did make a joke about those, which also I probably shouldn't have. But yeah, I don't think I got to Zanardi.
one that I actually do know it was you because I watched I think it was either the '95 Great Britain video or the '98 Belgium one.
Hmm.
I didn't check which driver it was, but you were like, um, you were just pretending it doesn't exist, and you just
Oh, that's Ricardo Rosset. Yeah, yeah. So the whole joke behind that is that Ricardo Rosset was just such a terrible driver that I thought it would just be funny if I pretended he didn't exist.
yeah, which is
So
funny.
like whenever he showed up, it would just like blurt it out or blur his name or just not acknowledge him at all.
But I gotta admit, rewatching it, I gotta to admit that I scratched my head when I saw Benoit written on top of it. On top of it.
Yeah, that's also not something I probably should have done. I should have
I'll
known
edit
better at the
this
time,
out if
even.
you don't want.
But yeah, that's like that was a Botchamania joke. Like that was a Botchamania reference because every time like someone, I think the joke was that every time somebody got bleeped out or like they blocked out a swear word or something, he would just look like put like a Benoit or something in the thing like in the caption. And I thought it would be really funny just re-reference that as well. So I guess you would really have to really be into wrestling, wrestling like joke videos to get that. But it's I guess it wasn't a good look for him because I also noticed he stopped doing that after a while, and I shouldn't have done it at the time, and I definitely would not do that either now.
Oh well, if anyone asks you meant David. Uh, okay, to talk about something else. How how was it? I honestly have no idea since me asking. How was it growing up a motorsports fan in Brazil?
Well, it wasn't a unpopular sport because we always had a storied history in motorsport in general, like especially in F1. We all the way from Chico Lange, all the way back in the day, who was the actual inspiration for Ayrton Senna later. Like after him, after Chico Lange, we had like Emerson Fittipaldi, then Jose Carlos Pace, Nelson Piquet, and then Senna, and then after that Barrichello. So we always kind of had some sort of like figure to look up in motorsport. So it wasn't terribly unpopular, but at the same time, it's there's a sort of like mentality in most Brazilian sports. I would say that if they're not winning, then it's not worth paying attention to. So like most of we only really paid attention to Senna because he was winning. So I guess if he wasn't winning, then it would probably be just okay. And also his passing also probably helped in like raising his legend somewhat. And there's also this whole thing of calling the next Brazilian driver the next Senna. So like it happened to Barrichello, it probably happened a little bit to Massa. I guess it doesn't really happen as much anymore because we're not that involved in motorsport, like international motorsport anymore. I guess. So yes, it's a little less pressure on the kids nowadays. But yeah, like Senna's shadow was always looming over the drivers at the time. But when I grew up, since I was just watching the current product, I always liked Barrichello, and because he was in Ferrari, I always cheered for him because I knew the best team with the best car. Unfortunately, the other driver was just way too good for him, and it was just kind of an unrealistic dream to hope he would win a lot and be champion. But I always made sure to like celebrate his victories. Actually, the very it might be a false memory that I told myself, but I'm pretty sure it's not. The very first race that I watched in F1 was the 2000 German Grand Prix, which is also Barrichello's first win.
You at least say
Um,
as much in your own review of Germany 2000.
yeah, I did say that, but no, at the same time, thinking, giving a little bit more thought and and some space from that, it might be a false memory that I've been telling myself all this time, but I don't think it is. Like I do have a bit of memory of like sitting down in front of the TV early in the morning and just watching the red car go by. So maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'll keep telling myself it is because it's a nice memory to have.
Yeah.
And yeah, later on we had Felipe Massa, who was probably well, not probably, he was the closest thing we got to another champion in the in F1. The whole thing with 2008 happened, which is like I always played it up saying like it was a tragedy or something. Like it doesn't really bother me. At the time, I got sad. Like I remember watching it in my aunt's house with my uncle and some family at the time, and like I was pretty sad about it. But I didn't cry or I wasn't angry or anything. I just man. But yeah, it was after Massa. It was a little more difficult being an F1 fan for for Brazilians, I guess we'll say, because there doesn't seem to be anybody really on the come up really to get on the sport. Like Felipe Drugovich has a probably has an eternal test driver seat in Aston Martin because I don't think he's going anywhere beyond that. So he probably should look somewhere else beyond that. Gabriel Bortoleto has needs some time to mature, I guess, but I don't think he's really earned himself really the kind of gravitas you need to get in F1. Um, so yeah, I think we're gonna be waiting a little while longer until we get another winner or even a champion at the high level.
What do you think it's missing in Brazil for another Brazilian F1 driver to show up?
I think that the same thing that everyone else I talked to thinks, more investment, like more like grassroots investment. Because every time we see a Brazilian driver doing well, it's always outside. They always have to leave for Europe or for America, and do well in the circuits over there. Which I guess it's understandable since that's where most of the F1 teams are based. Most of the big junior teams are based, but at the same time, I think that having someone be better prepared at home and then get sent off instead of trying to having instead of being forced to leave their home and adapt themselves to a whole other culture, and then also being good at driving a car, it's I guess it's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. So I guess trying to invest on the homegrown talent that we have, and then trying to send them off, I guess it's a good start. It's like I don't. Well, there are plenty of junior categories in here, but they're all kind of separate. There's F4, then there's Formula Delta, and there's so many formulas really that I kind of lost count. Like the biggest one, I guess, would be Formula 4, but even then, they only have like probably 15, 16 cars at most on every race. And it's a good series. Like I've watched a couple of races from them, and it's the kids are all right there, pretty much. Like against each other at least, they're pretty good. It's a good standard of racing, but I'm not sure how well they would fare outside. But I guess if we continue from like we have something at least here, we continue moving forward with that. I guess there is a way to get a big new driver out there, but that's not up to me to decide. I don't really know how to go around doing that. But, so that's just my armchair analyst opinion.
Oh well, hey, you at least can say you have a more Formula One history in your country than I can.
Like what drivers did they have in Portugal? Like I can only think of you. I can think of Pedro Lamy and Pedro Chavez, who didn't even qualify once, I think. So like no wait, Thiago Montero, he got on the podium once. I forgot about that. I made a video about that.
Oh
He got
yeah,
on the podium
that
once.
goddamn race. Uh,
Yeah.
my copium is that he also got appointed spa. That's my copium.
Oh yeah, I don't remember the spawn race at the time, but if you say so, then
Yeah, we had our drivers had gotten so l- little results that a eighth place in a random race of the year is somewhat remembered.
yeah, it counts.
Yeah, it was with the entire field.
Yeah. Yeah, at least it was. It had more than 6 cars on it.
Um, I'm actually just to again give context. I always do all these questions off the cuff. Like I don't plan ahead because it just makes me nervous. I'd just be like, no one wants that, I assume. So sometimes I end up having to think for questions. How did how did you get into IndyCar and the Indy 500 since some of your videos were about that?
The cart at the time it was shown on other channels like I think it was on SBT when I was very little. That's a channel that was called. I think later on Bandeirantes, which is the current channel where they show F1. Um, but, like I don't really never really like watched it a lot. I knew it had a few Brazilians on it, like I knew Elio Castro Neves and Gil de Ferran. Um, because like those were the biggest names at the time that I knew that I liked to hear about most of the time. But I don't think I really started watching IndyCar proper until about 10 years ago. It was like when I sat down to watch. I think it was a 20. I don't remember if it was a 24. I don't think I watched the 2014 IndyCar, Indy 500 rather. But I did watch the 2015, which is the one where Montoya won for the second time. And that's also the one where I made a video about it. And yeah, I think since then that's when I really started watching more of IndyCar. Well, actually, no, I lie a little bit because I had the IndyCar game for the PS2, the IndyCar Series 2005, which was made in 2004 and based on the 2003 season,
I
which is not
hate
confusing at
that
all.
name. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I remember that the most memorable thing about that was the masterclass uh, part about it, which is like a whole tutorial thing on how to properly race an IndyCar and had the whole thing about the 500 as well. And it was presented by Dan Walden, which is I guess another name that I remembered. And I when I heard that he had passed away in an accident in 2011, I got kind of sad about that too, because like I know that I kind of knew that guy, I knew his name, and but yeah, it hasn't been that long since I started watching IndyCar. So like 2015 or so, that's when I've been mostly following the sport since then. Yeah, that was the other video that I. So at the time, I wasn't planning on making a 2017 IndyCar Indy 500 video. I don't remember why. Oh wait, I remember why. Because the Monaco race was just so awfully boring that I decided I can't just do a video on a video on this. So I had to ask for forgiveness for Chris because it was his thing at the time. Chris Cook P1. That's who Chris is. At the time because the 500 videos were his thing, and I kind of asked for forgiveness to say I'm gonna make a 500 video too, and we just kind of had the idea of, like, we would make cameos and show up on each other's videos on like a kind of a nod to it.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
invaded each other,
mhm.
if memory
Yeah,
serves.
that yes, we did. I showed up on his, and he showed up on mine on the red flag when Dixon crashed really heavily, and yeah, that was basically been an IndyCar fan for just under 10 years, I think. I try to watch it whenever I can. Like I wouldn't say I'm as passionate about it as F1. I think if I were to say some kind of thing that I'm passionate about, it's probably would be more sports car nowadays. So like ever since the GTPs and the hypercars started racing earlier in this decade, and that's when I kind of started really liking it more, and I've been trying to follow it more closely. And but yeah, it's up there. I know I like most kinds of motorsports, so I will try to go out of my way to watch it whenever I can. And IndyCar is a part of that. It also helps that the most of the all the races are like either one or a couple of hours behind my country, so I can always just put them on an afternoon or on early evenings. So it's easy to follow that way. I don't have to get up too early.
Yeah, it's same continent. Um,
Yeah, just yeah, almost same content, like a couple of hours back. It's not that much time difference.
I actually always tend to remember that those 2017 Indy 500 videos because of the reaction to the reactions both you and Cook had to the finish.
um, yeah. I don't exactly. I don't. I'm gonna admit I don't remember what Chris did in his video, but I remember at the time because I saw the. I think it was the Japanese language finish of the race, and it just went Sato Takuma, just like going completely crazy over the finish, and then I just kind of tried to bring that energy back. And I guess the one similarity about it is that we used the future funk music at the time. I think he ended up using the song that I wanted to use. Because I didn't tell him that I was gonna make the video. Anyway, so like I don't blame him for for quote unquote stealing my idea. But like that was the one annoying thing about it, is that I had to use a different song because if I did use the same song, it would obviously seem like too much like copying. So I think I just picked something else I had in my library and just put it on there. But and also at the time, Takuma Sato winning an 8500 was kind of unthought of, and then he ended up winning it again later, which was pretty crazy.
The goddamn trophy is bigger than he is.
Yeah, I think I'm bigger than he is, and I'm short. I'm 5'5".
I uh, I have to think in inches. Thinking I'm like 5'6", 5'7". Oh god, now I need to
Okay.
check. Cent-
Yeah, I only know that off the top of my head because I've had to repeat it so many times. I just had the figures like engraved in my brain. I just say 5'5". People will understand it, and I know what it means because I just told myself what it means.
uh,
That's the annoyance of being on the internet, where most of the people are assumed American.
yeah, I put 173 centimeters. It's showing 68.1, so I assume 6.8 inches.
No, no. I think that might be like 5'8" probably 5'9", probably
Oh,
five foot
to
eight.
feet.
It's feet and inches. You have to calculate it, not just inches.
uh,
It's not confusing at all.
5'6". Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Metric is better. Uh,
It would just be so much easier.
yeah. Um, is there? Um, I know you already mentioned some jokes that were made, but is there something else you would done differently in your content creator career?
I think the pace of the videos are probably too fast. Like looking back, I was probably just doing a little bit of too quick fire, like too just going off too fast. Because at the time, I was heavily inspired by Cinema Sins, which is also something that I regret because that channel actually sucks. But looking back in hindsight, not even in hindsight, just nowadays, I don't know if they're still making videos, but I hope they don't.
No idea,
Um,
honestly.
I don't really care to be honest, but it would be better for the world if they didn't. But anyway, like that was one of the like for the format at least, that was one of the inspirations because they would just like fire joke after joke, and I would also do like fire joke after joke. I would probably like slow down and maybe plan out the scripts a little better. It would probably take longer to make those videos that way, but I think it would come out better in the end. I would probably end up making fewer videos overall, but I think they would have been overall better. But at the same time, I don't really regret it the way, because that was what I thought would work at the time, and it did work pretty well at the time. Like nowadays, if I were to do it again, I would probably do the way that I'm talking about, like just plan it out a little better and make it like make it a little slower, I guess. Slow down the pace a little bit and dwell a little more on each joke. But yeah, I guess that's really the one thing that I think what I would say I probably did like bad overall. Like for me nowadays, it's hard to revisit that because of the pace. But really, if I don't think there's much that I would change about those videos other than all the things that I told you today.
Understandable. Um, do you think um, you and others helped influence the current F1 funny reviews that exist currently?
Yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I do want to do it a little bit because I think I think we probably did, like Chris and I we had something there and we just kind of started. I think we started on it a little too early, and we also cut it off just as it was starting to get very popular, like the sport. I mean, not our content, but um, I think it did kind of lead to like some people seeing that that kind of content was popular, and being focused more on the sport instead of just the gaming side. Um, and yeah, I guess it's kind of led to the kind of content we have nowadays. I don't watch it a lot myself, but what I've seen about it is it's pretty all right. Like I don't love any of it, and I don't hate any of it. Like it's kind of there for me. Like it's not the kind of thing that I would go out of my way to watch nowadays. But I think that it's I guess it that kind of inspired some people. Like I've seen a few channels that like do the kind of thing that he and I made. Like we was like specifically watching videos back and watching races back, and making a few jokes about it. But most of the content nowadays is just talking around the sport, like making punditry videos and commenting on stuff. Um, I guess if I hadn't stopped making videos, that's probably what I would end up doing. What I would have ended up doing. Um, but at the same time, don't. I've never seen myself like continuing down that road of just being a kind of internet personality on the sports. I think I just kind of quit while I was ahead and for my own sanity and all that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I think that maybe indirectly in a sense there was some inspiration there. Even if I wouldn't like take credit for it, there probably was like some kind of general like basic inspiration for other people to take.
Well, either way, personally, I'm very glad you did the videos that you did because
Thank you.
I enjoyed them very much.
Oh yeah, this reminds me actually. I got recognized on the street exactly once because of my videos. That was one time when I went to a friend's concert on a cafe here in my city, and while I was watching, there was a guy who was just like kind of staring at me, like going back and forth, like he was. I don't know. I didn't know why he was, but then after the concert ended, he just came up to me and said, "Hey, are you the guy who did TF1 videos?" I said, "Yeah," and he just asked me for a selfie to send to his friends, and that was the one time I got recognized on the street for something I did on the internet, and which was kind of strange to think about still.
Well, um, I'm just imagining the scenario. um,
It is still kind of unbelievable to me.
um, how did you react to that? Like,
I don't know. I was a bit surprised about it, but I obliged him. Like I took the selfie with him. I said thank you for saying nice things, and that was it pretty much. I haven't seen I haven't seen him since. I haven't heard. I haven't been recognized since either. At least on the street, I mean. But like it was odd to be recognized like personally for something that he just put out there. So I guess like it was nice in a way, but it was also strange. So it's a little bit of both.
Actually, I just thought of telling you something. I don't think I ever told you how I joined the dots that you had been um uh doing what you had done.
Yeah, I think you
Because
just came on to
nowadays
me
you
on
use
a Twitch whisper, and you just said, "Hey, I just realized that you made MSTF1, and thank you for making the videos." That was pretty much how you told me.
um but the way I realized I don't I it was a Rhino's stream. I
It was
think
probably either Rhino or Arrows,
I
in
think it
one of
was
those.
Rhinos. Like he someone in chat or he mentioned that someone there was at MST F1, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, and I actually asked, and no, I asked, and Rhino said, yeah, I remember now, it was Rhino, and he
Oh,
said
okay.
specifically, hey, I'm not gonna out anyone if they don't want me to. But
Yeah. I
I
always
was
thought
too
that
curious
I
not to
used to
check.
be. Yeah, I used to go by different names at a few points. Like I think my Twitch username used to be different back when I made the videos and when I watched Rhino at the time. So I never really I didn't think Rhino recognized me from back in the day, but I guess he does. That's nice to know, I guess.
Yeah, pretty sure he does, cause that's the answer he gave me. But I was so curious why.
Okay.
I started checking random videos just to see if I get any clue. And in that US 1996 US 500 video, I checked in the description, and in the credits it shows and it has your Twitter link with your
Hmm.
current name.
Oh.
So that's how I got there.
Oh, okay.
Cause otherwise I never I never get. So yeah, if for some reason you you were wondering, that's how.
that's a that's an interesting way to go about it.
uh, God. Oh well. So yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't have any further questions. I'm very thankful you were willing to come here and answer all this stuff. Thank you for
Yeah,
being here.
thanks for calling me. Like I don't really get quizzed about it a lot, so and like this is what I imagine you would ask me about mostly about my videos. But I guess it's nice to talk about it sometimes. Like it's a way to reminisce the things that I've done, and it is also nice to know that some people liked it and they take the time out of their day to tell me that they liked it.
Yeah. Unless you have something you I hate when I start a sentence and I'm like, wait, this doesn't work. Um, do you have anything planned for the future or anything you want to plug before we end?
No, I'm not really doing anything anymore. I'm just vibing. So like, I'm just trying to focus on my like chosen career at the moment, and then like currently on in terms of content on the internet, I'm not doing anything. So like, there's nothing for me to plug. I guess just hope everyone stays being nice to each other.
Well, at least from my end, you can bet on that one.
Hell yeah.
All right. So to anyone listening that listened this far, thank you for listening. thank you one one more time to Skelly for coming here, and I hope you all have a good time. Be seeing you next time.
Bye bye.